Hey soul surfers, River here for Romany storytelling, the 11th session here on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us, and if you are returning, welcome back. Thank you for helping us shuffle states of emergency into adoption spirit magic, for steering clear of danger, for playing your cards. We feel so honored and thrilled to be here doing this work with you. It's thrilling times. Shift is happening as we dance out of the fog of adoption fairy tales and gypsy myths and find justice, joy, peace on earth, each just by steering clear of danger and playing our cards. Glory be, hallelujah. And so you see here we have a stack of books to peek at. The one on the top is what the dice called out today in source for us to explore, and then the others followed. And so as I offer some disclaimers, you may examine those and some of the other articles around. Pardon me. As we are all different psychosocial science experiments, and what resonates for one person may be different for another, so I always enjoy inviting you to explore more on your own, so you may see what resonates with you, so this reading is more meaningful for you. And please pardon me any interruptions, bells, whistles, coughs, snorts, farts, ambulance, fire, neighbors. Let's ring a bell and say Thich Nhat Hanh's bell mantra right now to honor all of those and offer safe passage and transforming any obstacles into building blocks. And so let me ring the bell. Pardon me. Pardon me. Mind, body, speech, in perfect oneness, I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. May hearers awaken from forgetfulness and transcend all anxiety and sorrow. Om. Peace. Shanti. Thank you so much. And I feel your beautiful, brilliant, creative energies and your ancestors, pardon me. And I am not a doctor, lawyer, therapist. I'm a fortune teller, so what I offer is no substitute for their services. Furthermore, what I share does not determine your future. Only your intentions and actions do. So please use your gifts of discernment before deciding what to gather and take away. And of course, take only what resonates and blow like a kiss the rest to the universe for cosmic composting into beauty. This reading is for fun and games, for shits and giggles, for entertainment, for flexing our heart, mind, body, soul, spirit, emotions, and intuition. And at the least, I hope to cause harm to none, and at the most, I hope I may assist you on your healing path. All that said, you are welcome to come and go as you please, to change your mind whenever you want, and as you dance away from the emergency states and immerse into adoption spirit magic with us from wherever you are, from your safe, sound, sacred space, the temple that you are. And yes, so much happening in the world and inside of us, and so spending some time before our session today clearing the space for us, and then saying the pretty prayer and rolling the dice Source called in the Courage to Heal workbook. Well, the workbook is not here. You may find the workbook on your own. This is the book. And that number 2, the numerology, it's so relevant, that number 2. And I, again, invite you to explore more on your own the numerology, because we're all different psychosocial science experiments or any of these items here. And that number 2 adds up to a 4. So fun that this is at the top of the deck. And a lot of these cards, well, it looks like they're from Costa Rica. I borrowed, adapted from Cindy Dale's books, and also from the National Spiritualist Association of Churches, and put them on these cards. So the 2, I rolled 2 2s to get the 22, to get the courage to heal, and they add up to a 4. And so sometimes playing with these numbers helps us play through the loss that is so devastating. It makes us want to kill ourselves and others, but we don't really want to. And so what do we do instead? We play our cards, and some of our cards are numerology or reading these books. And so maybe we create songs about this, or art pieces, or envision it over spaces or our own temple that we are, just to help ensure that balance, an equitable, dignified social contract, so relevant for the literal and figurative orphan, adoptee, gypsy, Romani, whoever you are, right? And we're seeing that play out all over the world on individual levels and national levels, international levels, intergalactic levels, how to achieve balance. And glory be, we can do it with ourselves. And we want to be really careful, especially if we're leading charges, to tap out when we're feeling disgust, to explore it and understand it, as opposed to force marching. Now that we are dancing away from the fight, flight, freeze, fuck, fawn, from scapegoating evil, so we want to be really careful with that, but also honor that we are all different psychosocial science experiments. And this is telling you, wow, you can't perhaps go into swim in a vat of milk if the vat of milk disgusts you, for example. I know that's a weird example, but there you have it. Just trying to depersonalize. So more on that number 4, that is helping us play through, because loss is so much, wow, it's really challenging to play through, right? We've already talked about it. Hurt so much that we want to hurt ourselves and others, but not really. So how do we play through? So this 4 can ground and stabilize us, especially if others are pulling on us energetically, mentally, emotionally, and which happens so often with the orphan and the adoptee, the divorced kid, all the different ways that plays out. And through parents, and the cycles, the transgenerational cycles, and how to transmute that into love, and to have that cycle end with you. And that 4 perhaps speaks to you, and how you may have fun doing that. And also just to ground ourselves and calm ourselves, and like an air traffic controller, distinguish between our thoughts and our feelings, and why we would even bother, understanding how that impacts our health, and really having some fun with that. So perhaps these are helpful. Where is the 2? 2, 2. All right, let's see. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I love that. That was right there. It says light can be directed, spun, fashioned, summoned, or eliminated to cause a desired effect. Let your love light shine. 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 And that beautiful white pure light that's in every cell of our body, and then that we can look out into the universe and see. Let your love light shine. Perhaps you're shining some other colors with it to decrease inflammation here or there, or to elevate spirits here or there. So that too, so essential, especially with the literal, figurative, orphan, adoptee, gypsy, refugee, immigrant that so many of us identify with in some way, shape, or form, divorcee, and how to partner up with someone without giving away our power from within our own house, school, business, place of worship, government, in between nations, in between galaxies, how to do that. And when we start with ourselves, we find glorious solutions. And perhaps one of the silver linings of the pandemic, offering us more time to our space, more space to ourselves to understand how to enjoy our own energy and our alone time, and how perhaps our standards changed. And after the pandemic has opened up, since the pandemic has, pardon me, how to say this, since we are operating now without masks in many places and traveling more freely, perhaps we're operating by different standards, and not entertaining, following, being a party to certain events, or schools, or holidays, or traditions, or you fill in the blank, where we were put in a position to give away our power. And so big hugs to you for being so brave and bold to step out of the fog of the adoption fairy tales and gypsy myths. And oh my God, light is so fascinating. That number 2, we're still working on the number 2 that I rolled to get to the courage to heal. The time you need is the time it takes. And so light is an electromagnetic radiation of various wavelengths. Dark light is composed mainly of electrons that carry intelligence about power. Light is fashioned chiefly from protons that hold intelligence about love. Isn't that so beautiful? Oh my God, 1333. As I was absorbing that, oh my God, that's so beautiful. So the numerology just helps in all these different ways. The number 1 helping with our victim issues, the number 11 really helping us overcome that, 33 opening us up to our own wisdom as we dance out of the fog of the adoption fairy tales, of the gypsy myths, of the grief struck by loss amygdala, cycling fight, flight, freeze, fuck, fawn as for the best correct, possessed by grief. Perhaps some of this numerology helps, and perhaps we are reading now our anger and fear to get out of the way instead of diving into the danger. And yeah, happiness tells us we want more of that. We want to steer clear of the danger. Now that we've decided to dance away from the adoption fairy tale fog and the gypsy myth fog. Oh, there it is. Oh my God, the next card. There it is. 2. So beautiful. So beautiful to play with these ideas in your own time and space, with it in your own hands, and viewing it with your own brilliant creative energy. All your decks of cards, or your books, or your oracle cards, your tarot, perhaps that's your phone, or your maps, or your TV, or the nature around you, and just to really dive into it. Now that we have chosen to immerse into adoption spirit magic, and we're not force marching, racing from here to there. We're not engaging in that racism, racing from here to there, that eracism. What are we doing with our time? Playing our cards, practicing our healing, card after card after card. Each time a worry comes up, acknowledging it and streaming grace to replace as we are ready to let that go, and to just focus on the healing instead of cycling that worry, that fear, that stress. And so perhaps that too helps. And this notion of creating your own decks for fun and shuffling through them here and there instead of perhaps watching the news, or going to this parade or that holiday, or you know what I'm saying, right? And different versions of cards I brought out just as extra reminders or to give you ideas. Paragram by Paramahansa Yogananda is just a pack of retemery cards, another way to say flashcards. Autobiography of a yogi. Perhaps you came across it for free. It often happens that way, I've heard. And beautiful temple at the end of Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles, California. Paramahansa shared with us and has left a legacy, and if you're in that region, you may visit and enjoy taking in services and the resources. And there's a beautiful pond and monument with Gandhi's ashes, and all sorts of interesting things you can dig into. And also, if you aren't in the area, you can go online and poke around their resource shop, and perhaps you're interested in getting lessons mailed home to you every 2 weeks. I think maybe for the whole year it's something like $52. And instead of going out to services, you want to take services at home. And so that's one of the things that they offer, is in the form of, like, I don't know, 8 pages every 2 weeks. You can get mailed to you these love letters from Paramahansa about just your plan for life. And so that's a deck of cards, a different variation that may give you some ideas. And then perhaps you have traveled around and acquired different cards like these that just help you focus on beauty and replenish yourself. The nature has a wonderful way to replenish us. And sometimes we're not able to get out or move from where we are. And so just being able to play with our mind and resources like this, and to just allow ourselves to be there and as if, and meditate on that, or play our cards in different ways. Some of the cards we're adopting from others, right? So that's what that's all about. So I love these beautiful elephants Barbara Mendez sculpted. You may enjoy visiting Barbara Mendez Square in Los Angeles, California, South Robertson area. And you may visit her online at barbaramendez.org. You may adore her Queen of Cosmos comics. It's so thrilling that she's come out with recently in the past, I think 5 years. Those 2 comics came out. You may enjoy her underground comics from the 70s, so thrilling. You may enjoy her spiritual pieces they take up an entire wall, verse by verse of the books of the Torah. So Barbara Mendez, you may hang out and play cards with Barbara virtually by checking out her website or checking her online or procuring some of her art, becoming a collector if you haven't already, and just different ways to play your cards. So the courage to heal, so relevant for literal and figurative orphans, adoptees, gypsies, you fill in the blank. And we've been seeing more and more as time has passed. Me personally, I had this sense and was guided to gather the book after college. Maybe I was 20. Maybe I had just started working at CEDU. And for more about CEDU, you may check out what Paris Hilton has to say about those organizations, treatment centers for youth and family that have been since shut down. And I myself worked there for a spell and found myself leaving for the reasons that Paris Hilton brings up in part. And doing work such as this is one of the ways I hope to make amends for the damage done. And so before starting to work at CEDU, this was a book that I gathered instinctively, thinking this is something I need for myself. I can't quite pinpoint, as so often happens. And then also thought it would be valuable, this would be valuable working with youth, all the left behind youth in the public schools, private schools, across the U.S. that I may be working in, or the world that I may be working in. And after just getting certified to teach history and Spanish, social studies and Spanish, so that's a broader spectrum than just history. So this Courage to Heal workbook, we've seen, what was that, 1997, I started working at CEDU. So that's about the time I gathered this book. And so what has unfolded since 1997 across the world, all across fields, all the different abuses, from border babies like myself, Cold War border babies, to Mexico-U.S. border babies. Now we know more. What happens? Being adopted from here to there for the best. And it's really not for the best. And all the different organizations across fields, we could list them out. And then with what's happening, I'm not going to dive deep into that because it's so sensitive. So that's why I'm not listing them out. I'm just, you can own your own, and that may be the most helpful approach. So that's why I'm not listing it, because I think I'm sensing we're overwhelmed, and so to just minimize that, and to honor what is, and then also what's come up in the news recently. So many of us left behind in positions where we feel helpless, we don't know what to do, we're horrified, and perhaps this is the time to finally pull back the carpet and to clean up what's been swept under the carpet all those years for ourselves. And many of you have been doing the work over the past decades, and some of you have been developing the courage to heal. And so perhaps this weekend, instead of attending any event that is honoring that fight, flight, freeze, fuck, fawn emergency state, whether it's in-house, your place of worship, your community school, your military, police, you fill in the blank. I mean, we could go on and on, right? Perhaps instead of going out to those places where we have decided we're dancing out of that fog of the adoption fairy tales, of the gypsy myths, where we're fighting wars to save these people left behind who have been so abused, and we're going to heal ourselves instead. We're going to finally heal ourselves instead of going around and saving everybody else and thinking that's going to do the trick, because now we see it really doesn't do the trick. We've looked at the data across time and space and in our hearts, and so we're here, immersed in adoption spirit magic, dancing away from the fog of adoption fairy tales and gypsy myths, having the courage to heal. And thank you so much for being so courageous. And it's tremendous work, and giving yourself extra time and space, like this weekend. It reminds me of the 3-day card, playing the 3-day card for yourself, allowing yourself 3 days to cry through something instead of just thinking that you just want to get over in 24 hours perhaps, and even going as far as to get a pretty cry towel, a beautiful tissue box, beautiful trash can to throw your snot rags in, a cozy blanket, a sacred place to do your cry, beautiful pens and pencils to do the work. Some of the work's in pencil because, you know, you don't want to write it in stone, and other stuff's in pen because you found the silver lining and you want to paint it all pretty. And so these are things to do, perhaps, instead of the forced march and attending the parade and attending the event and attending the holiday, where we are reminded of that fight, flight, freeze, fuck, fawn, or put into a position of having to jeer one lame dog after another, and thinking that adopting another lame dog is going to ameliorate that or help us make amends for that. We don't have to do that anymore, because we see the adoptee suicides 4 times more, Romani 7 times more, mistreated and mistaken and mistreated as asshole, addict, ADHD, ADD, bipolar, criminal, crazy, dumb, evil, rude, ungrateful, not to mention lashing out, overdosing, flunking out of family, school, society. Right? And it's not just the orphan, the abused, neglected orphan, adopted, and the gypsy that face these. That's why so many people relate to the gypsy and the orphan, and you see that across our media. And so we have a solution. We can put down the fighting spirit, and we can pick up adoption spirit. And for more on that adoption spirit, you can check out, I think, one of the shorts on my webpage. I share it, and you can kind of pick it apart and make it your own. So many different resources to help us with our healing. And so you see, I've just spun through this a little bit to let you see what you might find if you start to think about summoning the courage to heal, or if you're already in the middle of it and you're just looking for another resource from a regular person who's not tied to any agenda other than just helping the children pull themselves out of that slavery, and the adults who have come from that place and have forgotten. And so perhaps that's what all of this is inviting us to do, is honor ourselves and adopt ourselves first. And we can do that Now that we're not forced marching, we're staying home instead. We're steering clear of danger. We're immersed in adoption spirit magic. We're adopting ourselves first. Different resources that may assist us. This one is fascinating. So you can see just a little tidbit. Louise Hay has left a legacy of her own publishing house. And we're over time, but I'm just being guided to share with you some different cards you may play through when the loss is so much you want to hurt yourself or somebody else, but not really. What are you going to do? What are you going to do instead? And Louise Hay mentioned these affirmations like, hundreds of times a day. So you wonder, oh my God, now that I'm not racing from here to there, saving the world, what am I going to do? Well, your affirmations hundreds of times a day. They're just playing your cards. You're already doing it. You've already been playing your cards for life before you came, and you'll be playing after you left, so you don't have to stress. This is like stress less. The Reiki, maybe you appreciate the Reiki. We give a hug, we're giving Reiki, and so perhaps that intrigues you and you want to explore more, and you can find different resources like that. Perhaps you're like, no, man, just let's talk about the aliens. You can check out Dolores. She created her own publishing company, because, she can tell you all about it. But you may imagine in the first place. So these are thrilling. So maybe this is what you want to dig into right now. And the aliens who are here assisting us, and how we might collaborate even more effectively. Perhaps these Cindy Dale's books, Float Your Boat, and help you play through. So this one is lovely, lovely, lovely. Cindy Dale, you can find Instagram, YouTube. These are super thrilling, super thrilling, super thrilling. Modalities from all over the world, so you can tune into what really resonates with you in your own sacred space, instead of letting other people tell you what to do or order you around or take orders. And just pick and choose different ways you want to play through the loss, to live life worth living, from crisis to diaspora, to surviving, to thriving, to blessed dreams coming true, and pilgrimage, and just giving you all these different ideas to play through the loss, because, all the times the loss is just really not fun, because it makes you so sad you want to hurt yourself or someone else, but not really. Perhaps you tap into the crystal energy healing. This is the lepidolite. Lepidolite angel. So sweet. Bring her over here. And thank you so much for staying over with us as we go through these last few books, and for taking such sweet care of yourself, for steering clear of danger, for playing your cards, for helping us shuffle states of emergency into adoption spirit magic. We have been playing a little 52 pickup on Twitter, or X, throwing down some wild cards for life worth living, and tripping and falling. And so, you'll see what's my amygdala and what is a hardy card that you may adopt or not. And I'm trying to apologize for those places as well. Just take responsibility. And so these different books you may find fascinating to help you play through the loss, because we've decided that's what we're going to do. Even though the loss is so much we want to kill ourselves and somebody else, we don't really. We want to live. We want to play. In fact, all day. We want to play our cards all day. So let's do it. Let's play our cards all day. And this one, I mean, who doesn't enjoy a coloring book and cock and heart, like, right? And anus and balls. I mean, everything else. I'm sorry, I got crude there. It's Friday night. I apologize for getting crude there. And, I mean, fascinating. Jiatsu, finger pressure, is coming to me right now, and the different areas on our body that we can touch ourselves in a comfortable way that may just offer you such relief in a way that you never imagined. And picked this up at a used bookstore in Tucson, Arizona. Bookman's on the corner of Craycroft and Speedway, I believe. Left over from somebody's anatomy and physiology class. I mean, fascinating. These were some of the books. Another book I decided I needed to have to share with my students, the students we were collaborating with, to help live life with living, to have on the bookshelf, to have as a resource. You can see my basil paper. We've been trying to make some basil paper from our window garden, some basil, and learn some anatomy at the same time. Oh my, that smells so yummy. Do you smell that? So yummy. That basil, so abundant. So abundant. And the future is looking bright. We are playing our cards. We are steering clear of danger. Glory be, glory be. Thank you so much. Heartily, we are so grateful. Thank you for helping us breathe life into adoption spirit magic. And if this is resonating with you and you enjoyed this storytelling tonight, you may check out a couple others from our playlist and from the telling. And you can see here, that was the book we talked about. If you appreciate bibliographies, and there's Cindy Dale's and other resources you may appreciate, just checking the other playlists. We have 2 online courses for free until the 25th of November, and then they shut, and we revamp for year 2 of which to take. So if it is your bag to check out courses for free and offer feedback about how they may improve for the next students rolling through, teachers, fortune tellers, psychics, mediums, whoever you are, trail guides, goalkeepers, lifeguards for life, guards for life. Those are there for you. Those resources, those courses. Also on the on our channel on YouTube, you see various other channels that we appreciate, and so that may be fun for you to poke around in those rooms. And on our About page, links to laws like No Child Left Behind, Every Student Succeeds, initiatives like the Decade of Romani Inclusion, and Romanistan podcast, so thrilling. So many different resources. Our link tree perhaps is there as well, where there are even more resources of other Romani and orphans who are doing parallel work. So if this wasn't your cup of tea, we totally get it. There are so many other resourceful, brilliant, creative people out there that may help you play your cards through your loss to live the life you want to live. And you may see some of them in those different places that I shared with you within our pages, or you may have already found them yourself. But we are thrilled you walked with us for a spell. And until next time, ciao for now. We love you all.